All right, we're live, guys. The reason I'm going on, I wasn't going to go on today. I got a lot of stuff going on, but my stuff like that got what's called AutoDubbed. Wasn't familiar with it, never had it happen before, and it put it out. We're watching it, and then they went back maybe an hour, and it said, "Kenny, you have." So we talking. What happened? AutoDubbing puts in a different voice, same script and all. I got a terrible signal here. I don't know why. Terrible. To the video on my Wi-Fi. Hello, David. But yeah, I plug this in. Hold on.
What's going on?
See. Can you hear me, Hank?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, for some reason my internet is terrible today.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Brett.
I'll show you what I recorded real quick. Hold on. If I go into my photos. And all right.
Hey guys, Kenny here. Hey, I get a lot of questions about gardening and
Well, that
what
did
I do
sound
when I
like
garden
you.
and plant things, and I figured from the nursery.
So that's
Got a little bit of bufferage going on there.
Standard voice, but if you listen to the voice on here.
Do you support Israel, the
come
Jewish
on.
people? Now
Did
more
you?
than ever, Israel needs
Hold on,
committed
stop.
friends around the world.
Skip.
Guys, hey, I got a lot of questions about gardening and what I do when I garden and plant things. And I figured this year I'm not going to buy any flowers
That ain't
from
me.
the nursery.
So I did some searching around. Anyway, so I went around looking, saying, what's going on with this? And I noticed it's AutoDubbed, where it says description, then it says AutoDubbed. And I looked up AutoDubbed, and if you go under settings, under languages and stuff, you can have them change languages, but there's no option to turn on or off the auto dub. All right, so it's obviously auto dubbing because that's what steps. I don't know what the hell is going on with my. Can you guys still hear me? My screen's going in.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just
you guys still hear
your
me?
audio's buffering, Ken.
Do you have your earphones in, or are you on just the computer?
No.
A lot of times when you do the earphones, they screw everything up.
I decided it was too nice a day to stay in the house. I figured I'd come out here.
But
it's raining over here. What are you playing with over there?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I just looking through some stuff and I didn't realize that I've got 2 brand new steel filters. I can't remember. They look like they go for a blower, maybe a trimmer, but they're dual layer.
Let's see. Yeah, reboot cable. It's like nothing's happening.
Who you talking to, Ken?
Ken's talking to Ken.
Yeah.
How about now? I'm plugged into the
Nah.
line.
Bye-bye. All right, take over. Shop Talk with Brett. Let's hear it.
Oh, say, can you see?
No singing.
No, that'd break everybody's camera.
Oh,
I'll save it for church.
yeah. Where are you in your?
I'm in my shop.
Are you? Yeah.
Too nice
How
a
about
day
that?
to be sitting in the recliner, so I figured to hang out here.
Yeah.
Harry's back, I think.
Say something, Ken.
Hello.
All right. You're like,
Poor guy.
yeah.
Apple cider.
Yeah, right.
I don't know
I'm
what
gonna
that
plug
was.
in another camera. Hold on.
Ooh. Smells like turpentine. I don't know what that come out of, but
Yeah.
it ain't getting used in anything I've got. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, you got to label these bottles when you put something in them, so you know what it is after.
Well, I drained something I worked on here, and then I never dumped the jar. It was
Yeah.
old gas to start with. That gas would actually put out a fire.
Yeah. You're right.
I had a guy bring me in a couple 2-stroke things today to look at down there. One of them was an Echo PAS 266. I don't know where he got it. He beat the living stuffing out of it. Definitely going to need a carburetor and lines. And he had this brush blade attachment on it that's got the chainsaw teeth on it. And I'm assuming it was probably a universal, but he said he can't get it centered. And I looked at it. I'm like, it ain't meant for this. I'm just going to quote him a high price because truthfully, I don't think it's safe.
Yeah.
All pixelated.
Go ahead. Talk, Ken. I think you sound better now. Ken? Oh, now he froze.
Dreamed I was an Eskimo. Remember that tune?
Not quite.
Frank Zappa, Yellow Snow.
Oh, Yellow Snow, yeah. All right. Wayne showed up, but he disappeared. There's Wayne.
Coffee time.
Ah.
Hey, Wayne, what's up?
Not too much.
How's Jake doing?
Good. He's just getting ready to drop a mower off that he just finished for a lady.
Oh, yeah.
One of those 30 inches riding mowers, the rear engine.
Oh, like a
Troy-
snapper. Wait a minute. That's one of the ones with the safety switch in the flapper that.
On the discharge chute, yeah. Like
Yeah.
when they put the mulching ply. As a matter of fact, he just welded the bracket. He cut a metal piece of metal, put a slot in it,
Yep.
set it over top of the piece of metal there, put it down, and then tacked it, and then took the plug off, or the mulching plug off, so he wouldn't melt it,
Yeah.
and then welded it to it so that it would hold it down on that one side. Yeah, that's actually the second time that he got called to fix this. We got it off a customer and sold it to this lady. I think it's like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's the second time that's happened to him. But her husband ran over a curb with it and bent the blade too. It was bent over about a quarter inch, maybe a little better. So he's got blades. So we put a new blade on, cleaned it up.
Yeah.
Is that a snapper or is that a Troy built?
No, it's
Troy built.
Okay, one of those
But the
TB
cup
30
sets are the same thing.
yeah, TB30R
Yeah, that's it.
with the Chonda motor on it.
Yeah. And I think those are the ones that have the screen inside the fuel inlet. So you got to pull the fuel inlet out to clean the screen.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it is.
The carburetor on that kind of mounts on like a Tecumseh.
Yeah, it's got a fuel solenoid on it.
Yeah, but I mean the carburetor sits this way instead of on an elbow like on a
Yeah, it's
Tecumseh.
on the side. And then you don't have a lot of room to pull them off. Like,
No, you
get
don't.
these guys that want to go and do it down and dirty, well, there's no room between the ball nut and the base of the tractor.
Yeah.
Nope, you gotta actually pull.
But I think the big problem with these screens is everybody is running the red plastic filters and they pass 150 microns, where the white ones, even though they say they're used for fuel pump operation, they only pass 75. So you get a lot more life running that white plastic filter in there than you do running the red one.
Yeah.
Because like he'll pull them out and it'll look like cat hair in there and all kinds of stuff just jammed into that screen. So what happens is it fires up and then it runs for a while, then it dies. Then if they try to
because
start
the
it again,
engine's using it faster than the
With
Yeah.
the-
fuel can be supplied.
yeah, so you think it's a fuel cap maybe, but really that screen's plugged up enough that it's not allowing enough flow to get into the carb.
That's right.
If it isn't AutoDubbed Kenny, I almost shit when I heard that video. I says, I got to be going crazy. This morning I was sure I heard Kenny talking.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like this young guy talking on his video.
Yeah.
Kenny went back a few years in youth to do that, right?
Yeah.
How about now?
Good.
I don't know.
You got to talk, Ken.
Yeah, the internet's still screwed up here. I don't know what's going on.
No,
There you
you're all seem okay there.
Yeah, because at first I thought I got hacked.
Quick question about Briggs and Stratton
Yeah, you
quantum
guys
air
are
cleaner
still
gaskets.
a little bit lagging from what I can see. So
What's the question?
Are there any aftermarket companies that make
does
those
Brett have
Briggs
any
air,
volume?
does those Briggs air cleaner gaskets like for the quantums?
Yeah.
Is there an aftermarket company that makes them in a thicker rubber or just cardboard?
Oh, no, there's aftermarket ones that fit and there's aftermarket ones that won't fit. Right, Kenny? Didn't you say you got some for the quantum that wouldn't seal?
Because years ago I'd gotten a hold of some and I can't remember whether it was rotary or Stens or whatever. They were thicker and they were actually rubber. And they seemed to solve the problem when you got those ones that were warped.
Well, I got mine from Stens.
Stens?
Yeah, and they're great. And then I just bought I buy the two while I'm waiting for the 40 pack, the bulk pack of the foam pre-filters. And then I bought the ones that have the foam and then they have that fine mesh on them, because those you got to use on the Hondas because the box won't allow it to seal. You'll end up popping your cap off.
Yeah.
Or box off if you put the thick one in behind it. What's everybody doing showing their hats off? Hank, what's going on?
Michael
Is this a
Roberts
contest?
is looking very dapper, big dog. So I'm showing him my hat. But Kenny got his hat from David Cornett.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a nice looking logo.
Let's see that logo again. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's isn't that the same as his sticker, right? Or did he change it?
No, that's it.
It's probably the first time you've seen me without a hat.
Yeah. What you got, a wig on?
No. Believe it or not, that's actually the natural color.
Okay.
You didn't know they'd stack crap that high, did you?
Yeah. How you doing, Brucey? Brucey's in.
Yeah.
I got a package of 12 that won't seal. Whatever.
Yeah, see, I've heard that. I've heard that there's a gasket sealing issue with some of the aftermarket ones that they sell online.
I did find out if you buy the aftermarket diaphragm kits for those Pulsa Prime carburetors, the boss got a whole bunch of them, and every single one of them that I put in, they run rich. They won't seat. They were the Chinesium ones. They weren't prime line. I don't know what they were, but the paper gasket that goes under, on between the carburetor and that diaphragm, won't seal, and it just, you start it and it's like okay for a couple seconds and it starts running rich, getting gas where it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues with the stuff from Stens.
Hey, anybody know what that purple thing is that Henny Yoki has on his site there? It looks like a number one. I don't know. Is it a King's Crown with number one?
Don't know.
Do you see it? It's purple.
I don't
On
know.
whose?
I'm not seeing it.
Henny Yoki. I'm just wondering what that means.
I don't know.
I'm in the process, or going to be in the process. I'm getting rid of the fluorescent lights over this bench where I do the carburetors. And I might do what Robert did. I might get a couple of those Hyperlight high bays.
Could Terrell be up for a lawsuit because he's defaming the engine makers? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
Like he's using their logo and he's changed it.
Yeah, as long as their name isn't on there, and then him probably changing it somewhere on the bottom.
Yeah, but you never know. If a good lawyer wanted to get a hold of it, he'd say, well, that's our logo, and he's just changed the name. So he shouldn't, our logo itself is trademarked without the name. I don't know. Hard to say. It only takes a good lawyer to get you in trouble.
Oh, you mean like the brakes and scrap them and all them?
Yeah.
I don't see where he's breaking any copyrights.
No, because it's different. You changed the whole thing except for the shape of the sign.
Yeah. Like the Scrub Cadet.
Yeah.
The Scrub Cadet, and I thought about making one myself, not because of the machine. I thought about taking the Toro Time Master logo, taking a close-up of it, throw it in Photoshop, and flip that M upside down so you get the time waster.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before you hit the blades. That's why it's called the Time Master.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it depends on how careful you are cutting, too.
Yeah, but if they don't clean all that crap out underneath that plastic cover, the grass gets into that serpentine belt that makes it jump a tooth, and next thing you know, you're one tooth away from losing a set of blades.
Or you have an idler bearing explode.
Oh, they go steady. You got to change those to the commercial, the upgraded ones.
Yep.
The center post on the older ones where you can, not the one that you can adjust, but there was a center post with a idler on it that would pull the metal apart. I mean, it was like one of the first Time Masters, and I'd have to weld that back in, that whole bracket, because it would pull it off of the whole deck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've got that one that I've got is a first gen. But
Yeah.
But the one I got, it's been cared for. And I
Yeah.
do regularly pull my belt cover and blow it out.
Now,
Oh.
have you guys had any problems with the air filter covers on the MTDs, the new ones, where they're spring loaded and you push down and then you rotate it to lock them in?
Is that the one with the
Yeah.
round donut filter?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking. Well, they're on the riding mowers. They've got, you're putting the oblong filters or the round cylinder filters in there, but they're plastic knobs. So you just got to press it down. You got to locate the slot, and then you got to rotate it to lock it in.
Yeah.
But the big problem is the design of them is so pathetic that I don't know how many we're getting in here that are broken, where somebody's turned it and it snapped at the little tiny.
Yeah.
You know what I
Locator.
mean? There's a little tiny recess where there's a narrow part there, and that's all that holds the whole thing together.
Yeah. But you could buy that part that's on the carburetor, that, you know, what you snap it into.
Over here, we had to buy the whole airbox assembly to get those pieces.
Oh, is that right?
You can't get them separate. You got to buy the whole airbox.
Huh.
You would think that they're so. And let me give you a little piece of advice: don't try to order one, because there's 1,000 of them on order. Guess why? Because all of those things broke and people
That's
need new ones.
Yeah. Well, people try to put them in there and just turn them, you know, instead of pushing and then turning. You know?
Yeah, but we know what we're doing, and we don't know for sure whether or not it was partially broke or it was our fault, because we
Right.
put it in, lined it up, rotated it. Next thing you know, here we are holding this piece, right?
Yep.
So Jake come up with a good hack, eh? You know, like it would be, you know, the screws that go into plastic on riding mowers or lawn mowers, that kind of thread, or a wood screw thread. But he would have a screw with a hex nut on the top, but it's a flanged, you know what I mean by flanged nut or bolt? It's got a built-in washer right on it.
Yep.
Which is, the washer is a little too big to fit into that slot. So you take your grinder and grind two flats so it's the same, drill a hole in the broken part, screw it in, put a little seal all on it, press that piece down in and rotate it. Voila, she's holding good.
Good.
Instead of buying a whole new airbox for a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems
And
to
doing
work.
that, it'd probably never break again.
Yep. Oh,
Well,
y'all see,
it doesn't have a lot of flat on it, so I don't know how it's going to work. But let's put it this way: it's on there, it's closed until we get it back to service. We'll see if it's still there.
Yeah. Oh, y'all see Terrell's video about that weed eater head with the chain on it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, boy, killed a little girl. Cause I'm like, and somebody else did a video on YouTube, but they used it for a while, but then they just hung it up on the wall. I'm like, you got to be joking. I mean, what's the maximum RPM on a weed eater head? What, 10,000 RPM?
Most of the ones that are brush cutters, that's actually geared down slightly from the engine speed. Your engine's going about 10,000. Usually the cutter head's going about 7,500 if it's a brush blade, because you know you reduce the speed, but you got to get the torque though. So they increase the torque doing that.
No, there's some guy I watched on YouTube. He got the new what is it? It's an Echo, but it's the upgraded version of the SRN 225. I'm like,
Kenny, talk. Let's hear what's happening. Are you still screwed up with the internet or what?
That's pouring here now. Pouring. Right?
No. Wow, you sound better now.
yeah, you sound like yourself again instead of
I'm
being.
watching you guys on my big screen. Well, I'm getting the. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just got issued a severe thunderstorm warning.
I'm watching you on a big screen, yet I'm moderating from my laptop because the pictures aren't in sync.
Yeah.
Now I went on Close's, watched one of Close's videos, the recent one, and I go to captions, and then I go to my settings, And the only thing I got out there is Danish. I don't have it. It says Danish. What the heck do I want Danish captions for when I can't understand what he's saying in the first place?
On a phone, it doesn't work. You have to be on a computer.
Oh, okay, because I was out in the shop. So it only came up as Danish. I'll go on, I'll check it out later on in my computer and see.
Dude, I got a computer in the back room in the house. I don't even use it anymore. It's so out of date. It's pathetic. It's a Windows 7 machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I finally got the GT back out and was starting to cut grass with it. I'm like, I put that brand new battery in there, and that thing just gonna sit there and collect dust. I'm like, nope, you gotta get out and start cutting grass again. I gotta figure out what's going on with the steering, because when I go to make a right hand turn, it's not as tight as when I make a left hand turn. I'm like,
Some of them are like that.
Yeah, because I do that 3-point turn. I go forward, turn, back up, and then head back to the next cut. I'm like, that right hand turn on that thing is it's not, the wheel's not coming in as far as if I make a left hand turn. I'm like, oh well, whatever. But at least the things out doing something besides sitting in the shop collecting dust.
What if that doesn't just need an adjustment?
I don't know. It's very strange how I can make a left hand turn, the left wheel will come in closer to the frame, but the right, when I go to make a right turn, the wheel's not coming in as close. I'm like, oh well.
Well, I remember my old Honda. I forget. I don't even remember if it was like an HR 216 or something, that I had a manual for it, and it showed that you should only be mowing and going in one turn direction. It didn't say you turned to the right. It said turn to the left or whatever it was. It always showed you turned in one direction with that mower.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I watched James's video on that Ryobi generator. Hey, he got lucky. That man sent him that owner's manual for it. I'm like, the repair manual, whatever it was. I'm like, but everything was in metric stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's all it was the plastic cooling fan that disintegrated it because the starter cut wasn't tight. I'm like, somebody wasn't paying attention at the factory. I guess it was getting near closing time. I'm like, just let it go. Like, whatever, yeah.
Well, you know what they say, Robert. It was 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yep.
I was walking around the Home Depot today, and I looked down at Carlisle tire, 16-inch,
Yeah.
$85
US?
one. Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
And Carlisle's your top tire.
Yeah.
Kenda's the cheaper,
$85.
Kenda's the cheaper one.
Yeah.
Well, we just had a lady bring in a rider, and she had let it sit so long with one tire being flat that it cracked the cords. So like even our shop, tire shop, wouldn't put a tube in it. So I had an old set out back that we had kept, and I said, you know what, let's take that and put a tube in it for her.
Yeah.
Get her going.
Yeah. And now something else I did. I pulled the front wheels off the GT, and I had to, I finally had to heat up the one bushing to get it to come out. Then I flip it over, and I would take my 1-inch impact socket and drive the other one out. I'm like, I want to clean this up a little bit, make it easier for the ball bearings to go in. Well, I did that, and all of a sudden I'm like, oops, I took a little too much metal off. I'm like, so I ordered 2 off eBay. So I got them in, and I looked at them, and they're both Carlisle. They're both 18-inch tall, but one is 6.5 wide, the other 7.5.
Hey, everybody, got a question. If I can maybe get a little bit of an answer.
Brandy.
I just recently replaced the front-wheel drive wheels on my Craftsman MT70. Does it? I know are the real wheels the same?
Is that front wheel drive or rear?
Yeah, front wheel, but they're all the smaller. They're the same size tires on the front, on the rear and front.
Yeah, I think they're like 7 or 8 inch.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
It's
like
an M270. It's basically an MTD.
yeah. If I replace the back tires, does it matter if they have the gears on it since it's not rear-wheel drive?
It shouldn't hurt it because there's nothing in there that's going to touch it.
That's what I
Right.
thought because I want to try to get the back tires like to be the same age, right?
Yeah.
No, there's no gear in there. It's not going to bother it.
Now
No.
the gears are engraved into the tire, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the rim, in the inside of the rim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was or not because I can't find any that's not got them in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I looked the video up, and they talk about the size numbers on your lawnmower tires. They said you can have 2 different manufacturers. One could be 17 and 3/4, or it could be 18 and 3/4 inches tall. I'm like, yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted to make sure. Then, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Yep.
Have a
thank
good
you.
day.
So Robert, so you got lawnmower tires that are different diameters. So you're
No, both are Carlisle, and they're both 18-inch. I stood them up as if they were on the lawnmower, and I looked, and I put my hand across. They're both 18 inches. It's just the width. One is 6.5, and the other 7.5.
Yeah, one's narrower.
Yeah, well, I said that video they talk about. It could say 18 inches, but one could be 17 and 3/4. And the other one could be 18, just a little bit taller. And they say, that's, I mean, a 1/4 of an inch difference, like I said, that throws off your mower pan. But like I said, it also depends on, to me, it also depends on the PSI of the tires. What the lawnmower recommends you put the front PSI at.
Yeah, some are radius and some are flat. So you
Yeah.
gotta be careful with that too.
Yeah, I have bought lawnmower tires, and I have had them overinflated, and I'm going down the road, and after a while, I'm like, what the fool? I'm like, ooh, too much air pressure. It was starting to eat the middle of it. I'm like, yeah, you gotta lower the pressure because you want a complete contact surface when you're cutting grass, because if you put too much and the tire gets real round, depending on your soil conditions, you could leave ruts in your yards. Like, where these ruts come from? Like, well, your tires do.
Yeah, because you're only putting about that much surface of the tire touching the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the air that it specifies in there only.
Yep. That's the reason I got that.
Tires are very light, like 10, 12 pounds.
Yeah, because that's the reason I got that Cobalt air compressor. You set it to the PSI you want, and when it gets to it, it shuts off. So I'll take it.
Is it accurate?
I know.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Like I said, once it gets it, let's just say this: I have taken the tire and let all the air out. Then I hooked that up, and I would set it to the PSI rating for the front of each tire. And as soon as it got to it, boom, it shut off. Then I do the rear tire, so I make sure that all tires are equal.
Yeah, they're handy to have. Jake bought the Milwaukee one. It's just an indispensable tool, because anytime we go to pick up a rider, he takes it with him in case. Because you always ask customer, do tires have air in them? Yeah. And then when you get there, there's nothing in them. Like, there's nothing, and it's hard to push, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. When I got the GT out to use it, the right front tire flat. I'm like, man, I had to go get my bicycle air pump and pump it back up, but it's holding air down. But I'm like, I couldn't believe. I took my newest Dremel tool, and like I said, I went around on the inside of the hub on the original tires, and I said I removed a little too much metal. I'm like, no wonder that ball bearings went in so easy.
You think you got problems with your lights there, Brett? Look at Brucey.
Yeah, Brucey got Brucey got there. You go. Oh, he's got the other one on off to the side, just blinding us.
I think someone's here
Yeah.
today.
I can't see Brucey. Where's Brucey?
He's there.
Okay, on my screen, lower left.
Yeah.
I
Now,
see.
I'll tell you something that not a lot of people check. We've got riding lawnmowers in here where the rear tires are supposed to be 10 psi, right? Normally they're 10. I've seen them come in where they're 12. There's been ones that have said 20, but whatever the rating is. I've got riding mowers in here that somebody has pressurized the tire to like 30 psi, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so then you put it to 10. You put them both to 10. You go and check the deck to see how level it is, and it's out of level. And when you check the circumference of the tire that had 30 psi in it, it's way bigger than the other one that never had 30 psi in. So it's already a bigger diameter. So when you put the 10 psi in it, it's actually lifting that deck up a little bit more than it should be because it was overpressurized and they stretched the rubber out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if the sun got to it, yeah. It's,
Oh, yeah. Well, funny you should say that. Jake took the oil extractor. He's got the pneumatic oil extractor that he bought from Princess Auto. And, you put the vacuum to it, and he took it outside, and it was in the green, and he finished sucking out the oil out of a riding mower, and he left it out there, and the sun hit it, and it increased the vacuum on the inside where it went into when I went out there, I looked, it was in the red line. I had to open up the valve to start releasing the pressure. I thought the thing was going to implode.
Yeah. Well, a lot of gas cans do that too. You put them out there and they get all blown out. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that happen, and I removed a protective cap. It was one of them no spill, and all of a sudden I hit the button and gas went.
There's one right there that's pregnant.
And then I have had them where they instead of being concave, they were convex. Then they would get concave. The sides would start getting sucked in. I'm like, yeah. Because I know back in the day when gasoline was gasoline, you put just a little bit in a milk jug. They had to pop on top. You shake it, all of a sudden that pressure builds up in it, and then the top goes flying off. I'm like, yeah.
Well, that was exciting.
Yep.
Somebody was going down the alley knocking over all the garbage bins as they went down the alley. I went up and caught them, and then they just increased their speed.
Take the baseball bat with you, did you?
Well, but I was ready. And I said, would you like to come back and talk about this with me?
Or right now it would be hockey stick time.
Yes, elbows up.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Yeah, those guys used to ride through the neighborhood where I was staying. Somebody be out hanging out the window with a baseball bat and hitting people's mailbox. I'm like, that's a federal offense right there. Y'all get caught. But the government be on your butt in a minute.
I was so pissed off. I was ready to take them on.
Yeah.
Just hold the brick in your hand when they go by.
Yep.
Robert, when I lived out in the country, when I was a youngster, we had a neighbor that got fed up with people taking out the mailboxes with, like you said, baseball bats.
Or driving.
So he filled his with cement. Well, the next time they came down and smashed his, I think the guy broke a wrist.
Yep.
Good, served him right.
Yep.
You want to be a dick? You want to vandalize? Then karma's a bitch.
Guy said, I heard the truck coming. I heard the big smack. He said, I ran out there and they were gone fast, and my mailbox is still sitting there nice and pretty. Can't get any mail in it, but he said it did the job. They ain't gonna try it again.
Yeah,
I guess the mailbox had the last laugh this time.
Yeah.
And some kids will ride around and open your mailbox and throw an M80 in it. It's like, y'all gonna get caught one of these days. The federal government's gonna be in your butt, because that's because down here the federal government dictates. The United States Postal Service says this is what your mailbox has got to be. It's got to be made out of this and all. And I have seen people, they'll build this big fancy brick enclosure and put it around the mailbox. I'm like, What are you gonna do when you want a new mailbox? Got all this brick you gonna have to bust off to replace the mailbox. Yeah.
I guess fortunate for me, my mailbox is on my front porch, right to the right of my front door. If anybody's coming up on my porch, my camera's going to see them, and
yeah. And then what?
I'm going to be out there, ready to, if you will.
And then what? People have an actual mail slot in the door because they show videos where they go to put the mail in, and the cat will be sitting there waiting on them. And the cat will just snatch the mail out of the mailman's hand. I'm like, what the? Like, okay, yeah.
Hey, maybe I need to train Roxy to do that, right?
Brucey, did you want to say something, Bruce?
I do. I want to change the subject to small engines.
Yeah. There you go.
I had a comeback. I fixed this lawnmower 4 years ago, and the cable that comes off the pulley drive on the rear wheel drive broke. But it's the LV, the VLV or whatever it is, Ken, the Tecumseh VLV with that strange heat sink carburetor.
Oh, the Vector.
Vector, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, with a square carburetor.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I worked to get that thing running, and it was finally missing an external Welch plug, if you can imagine that. So,
I never had any luck with those Vector carburetors. All the workings for it are in the bowl.
There it is, I think. Is it right here? Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
The biggest problem with those carburetors is the little red plastic jet in the bottom. There's an O-ring, and that goes bad.
That little red rubber thing. So anyway, guy says it's running good. It primes good. One pull start. All I got to do is get some kind of a cable to hook up and tighten up the pulley to the drive.
Now.
So anyway, I'll let you guys go. I'll keep you in the background, and I'll just do my thing here.
Did you get that link for those pieces?
Yes, I did. And
it's pretty simple operation.
I want a little slope on my roof, so I'm going to have to put some thinking on that.
Yes, ours is flat.
Do you think you could suck up the smoke from Connecticut back to Ontario or whatever?
You know what? It's so bad right now. You can't even breathe here. Like I shouldn't have the garage door open right now. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I've actually got it. I got some of that actually down here, Bruce. I could look towards the river and you could see the haze.
Yeah.
And I could smell it a little bit.
Yeah.
The sun came up this morning and it looked
Connecticut too.
Yeah, the sun was orange this morning.
Yeah, the moon was orangey red the other night over here.
Wow.
Like a harvest moon.
Yeah.
Yep. Harvest moon right there.
So anyway, that's what you got to keep doing is like that, huh?
Yeah.
7 months too soon.
I'm just going to check out here. I'll come back in a bit. I got work to do.
All right, Brucey.
Okay, Bruce.
I think he's still going to be a Santa Claus. Look at that beard.
Yeah, it's growing, hey?
Actually, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. This is probably the longest I've ever grown it.
He's trying to do the ZZ Top look.
No,
well, actually, right now, and I say it with respect, a little bit like Uncle Jesse.
Oh yeah,
is that the
Dukes of Hazzard? That was Denver Powell played that. Yeah, he looks like Uncle Jesse.
Right on. Okay, well, we'll talk to you guys in a bit.
All right.
I had a lady. We sold her. She brought this lawnmower in. She had bought off us years ago, and she got it out this year. Wanted it fixed, and the carburetor was beyond salvation. So she opted to get a carb for it for this push mower because she liked the mower. So we got a carburetor, put it on there. About a month later comes by, she comes back and she says, I can't get it started. I can't get it started. So I'm like, okay, bring it in. I'll take a look. I go out there, prime. No luck. Get the ether, give it a little toot. Starts and dies. And she says, I use high test gas. I use it. Open that gas tank up. It wasn't quite as bad as that, but it was close. And then the carburetor had grit in it. You really couldn't see it, but you could feel it. So, okay, I didn't do a quick and dirty on it. I took the carburetor completely down, blew everything out of it, got her back together, got her running. I called her, we called her up. I said, well, you're ready to go. She said, what was wrong? And I said, ma'am, that wasn't high test gas you put in it. Yeah, it was. That's like, no, it wasn't. And then finally she, kept trying to haul around. Finally she goes, oh, well, maybe I grabbed the can from my golf cart. I'm like, well, I don't know what it was for, but that certainly wasn't high test.
Yeah.
Well, tell her that her golf cart's going to be ruined too if she continues using that.
Yeah, even there is a fuel filter on that golf cart.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, they don't check their cans. They say, oh, I just put gas in it. Well, you just put water in it because there was water in there all year round sitting in it,
Yeah.
But they think they're putting gas in, but they're putting water in,
And
well, Tom Dobie just did a video on a Honda that somebody, they put a different carburetor on, it wouldn't start. And here it was an HRX 217, which you and I know the recent ones of those are auto choke. They put a carburetor, they got a carburetor from Scamazon or someplace. It's meant for a manual choke. Well, somehow, some way, he rigged the up with the right stuff so the auto choke part worked. But when he drained it, he hit it with ether and it would die.
Yeah.
Got in there, and that was all water in that tank and in that carburetor. He's like, well, he got a new carburetor, didn't change out the gas.
Yeah.
Got it going, though.
You got to go pee.
Oh yeah, that other guy on YouTube, Small Engine Revival. He just got through redoing a couple of earthquake, 2-cycle tillers. I'm like,
Yeah, it's got that Viper motor on it.
well, that'll remind me one of these days I gotta get my Honda all-wheel drive mower back out. See what it's gonna do. Gotta get out the Craftsman yard vacuum. I need to even get my pressure washer out. Get it back running.
Oddly enough, that's one thing I haven't brought out yet this year was the pressure washer, but I know it's going to fire because it was completely drained of all fuel out of the tank and the carburetor, and pump saver run through the pump.
Yeah.
Yep.
Should fire right up.
Yeah.
Well, I paid enough for it. I'm going to take care of it. That was $800 washer. You've seen it, The Simpson.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and was it? There was a guy came to that restaurant I worked at. One day, the owner decided to wash the filters on the exhaust in the kitchen because he had somebody come out there and do it. He just, we're going to try it. The guy showed up. He had that Northern dual temperature pressure washer. I'm like, God almighty, boy, that thing. Ooh. I looked at the price of this, and they are $4,000 and $5,000 for one. Like,
Well,
yeah.
North Star, I believe, from what I've read, I believe Simpson makes a lot of them for North Star, for Northern Tool.
Yeah. Well, I said he's very fortunate he keeps ethanol-free gas in the Honda engine. But the thing is, you're running hot water through that pump. How long can you do that? Like I said, I know the water's going. When you're using the regular pressure washer, the water's going to get hot anyway. But like I said, when he's using the hot parts, I don't know how long you can run that. Because I know you have to keep that nozzle.
Well, I think the way those work, Robert, is that water's heated after the pump, not before the pump.
Well,
That heat exchanger that heats the water comes into play after the pump, not before.
No.
So the pump's got cool water going through it all the time.
Yeah.
The heat comes in after the pump.
Yeah, because I know he had a cat pump on the unit. I'm like, yeah, cat pump is good pump. Because my pressure washer was a Simpson. And I called 3 different places. They said, oh, sir, we can work on the motor, but we do not touch the pump. I'm like, then why y'all a Simpson pressure washer?
Well, it's the same thing I tell them here. We work on the engines, but we don't do work on pumps. So if you want somebody to fix your pressure washer and it's a pump issue, don't bring it there.
Yeah.
We won't touch it.
Well, because
When we get a case like that, Wayne, if they want pump work, I simply say, here's your option. We can get it running, but we're going to change that pump.
Yeah, you're going to put a new pump on. In a lot of cases, the pump is worth what, it's depends on how old the machine is, but the pump could be a couple $100.
Ooh, what's this?
Oh yeah, had those terrible.
What is that?
Yeah. The Tecumseh.
That's the
Tecumseh
that's the
VLV
throttle.
with the
Oh,
plastic.
that's that vector motor.
Yeah, Vector carburetor.
Yeah.
That's what's on my that 13 horse Tecumseh I got on my snapper. The guy, when he put the motor on my snapper, he told me he had the kit. I should have told him right then and there, just gonna go through the carburetor. But like I said, I finally, like I said, I ordered the carburetor and stuff, but I was still waiting for somebody to bring me my snapper back so I can get it worked on. I'm like, can't hurt it. You got time for that snapper be sitting around. It's a 1985 series extra tough series. Paid $500 for that snapper. Then I had to turn around and pay another $300 because somebody didn't. That guy should have checked it before he. Only thing he did was check it to make sure it was charging the battery. I get it home, everything's fine. But I had most of the oil leaking out of it. I'm like, what the fool? Then I found out the sump gasket was bad. They had to do a valve job on it. He should have checked that before he even released it to me. Because if he'd seen that, oops, I'm like, yeah, nope.
Anybody ever notice here that the Vector engines didn't last all that long as far as production?
Oh yeah,
They had a lot of seal problems. I know.
Yeah, they did, because every single one of them I had, not everyone, but I'd say 90 to 95% of the Vectors I've had puked oil somewhere.
Speaking of engines,
they're covered in oil. You take off the cover, it's all plastic.
Yeah, but was it Mazda had finally brought back the rotary engine? They made them for a while.
Hank, it is pouring here.
Yeah,
it's raining, but it's not pouring.
What's your
pouring.
temperature like there, Ken?
Soon here.
How warm is it there, Ken?
What's today? Probably in the 70s.
71 here.
Be right back,
Let's
guys.
see. Right now, 73.
It's about 75 here. It's pleasant.
Yesterday it was 90.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's 90 here, but the humidity level is like I'm out there in the shop. I finally had to break out my fan. I started sweating so bad. I'm like, hey, I need to break the fan out, although it's noisy. But I'm like, I'd rather have a fan going and be cool than walk out and be soaking wet. I'm like, Nope. And I
Don't know if you can see it or not. Right there is what I paid for a 6-pack of the 6-pack of the steel oil in the silver bottles.
Oh yeah,
All we see is the description.
Yeah, the Ultra.
$34.68 for a 6-pack for the 2.5 gallon.
Ouch.
Yeah. But one of them will last me quite a while.
Yeah.
I can get a season on that 2.5 gallon.
Yeah, back in the day when I was.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is, why don't you just mix what you're going to use?
Because I got several things here, 2-stroke, that I do use.
Yeah, but you say it's going to last you all season. I don't like mixing something that's going to have to sit on a shelf.
Well, believe me, mine don't sit on the shelf. Because I work on stuff here, and believe me, I use it.
Yeah, but you're saying that it's going to last you all season. So you're mixing it, it's going to last you all season, so it's going to sit on the shelf. Right?
Yeah, the bottles are. But I mix what I'm using.
Okay.
I just mixed this the other day.
And how long will that take you to use up?
That'll probably take me into about August, maybe late July. The thing I got that uses the most gas is my blower over there. It's that BR400, and that's got a pretty big gas tank on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
they
good.
definitely.
2 months sitting there, that's not good.
Oh,
And I'm running high test gas.
Brett, what color is that oil that you mixing?
When you pour it into the thing, the oil itself is black.
Because I noticed it finally hit me. My Ames oil is blue in color. But after a while, I looked at something I had it mixed for, and I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this is starting to turn green, because it meant the gas was starting to go south, and it started turning green. I'm like, yep, let's get this. This mix ain't work out.
What's Pate like? Purple Power?
Yeah.
Hey, is Pate like Purple Power synthetic? What is the one he uses? Purple Power?
Oil? Yeah.
Yeah, it's purple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, royal purple. Yeah.
Royal Purple, that's it.
Yeah.
The high dollar stuff.
I don't think that oil is any different than any other oil.
Yeah.
Well, it's just purple.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, was it? A while back, I was at Walmart. They had a clearance sale on the 2 different styles of heat water remover. The one in the yellow bottle and the one in the red bottle. I'm like, I guess y'all gonna quit selling it. About what they want for a 6-pack of that stuff. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
I got one a friend of mine gave to me here. Came from one of the Baileys, I think. This is Woodland Pro 50-to-1 mix. And I think it's semi-sin. I've never cracked that open.
Oh, was it? And I used to go to convenience stores, and they had the Itasca in the green bottle with the red top. Oh, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. And
We
somebody
use the pre-mixed fuel. No
Yeah.
mess, no trouble. And you want us to fix something that's 2-stroke? I get to sell a can of that fuel because I ain't using yours.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I told Brett, I said, you mix what you're going to use that day, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Anything that sits, that's no good.
No.
Yeah. Is it like, was it that time, that generator, when I pumped all the gas out of that tank? I'm like, God, man, all that gas going to waste. It turned beyond what normal urine looks like when you first wake up in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's gas thing won't run.
Well, I'm happy to say at least my generator sitting behind me, that little all power, there's no gas in the tank. There's no gas in the carburetor. I know that if I go to need it, I can fill it. It's going to start.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing.
What is that, a little 1200 watt one?
No, it's 3250 running,
okay.
or 3250 starting, 2500 running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a Chinese, some type of Chonda motor on. It looks almost like a Mitsubishi motor, I think. I don't know who makes the motor, but it's a Chinesium engine.
Yeah.
I only paid $100 for it. It had been started but never used.
Yeah. Oh, I had a guy. I think he sent me a picture message. His parents, they were wire power, and the generator they had, it had ratings for running on gasoline and ratings for running on propane. The gasoline, it had 13,000 startup watts, and then was it 10,000 continuous watts running on gasoline. When you went to propane, the startup wattage dropped to what I think 12,250. I'm like, yeah, hey, 13,000 watts continuous running on gasoline. I'm like, man, that generator knows it's drinking the gas.
We had a few of those dual fuel generators. We had bought one off somebody, had never been used. Matter of fact, it was still in the box.
No.
And somebody bought it, and they
Yeah.
seen it was dual fuel. And I said, well, if you got the option, I said, run it on the propane. I said, because that gas ain't going to go sitting in the carburetor and get bad on you. It's a vapor.
You got that right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
If I ever get another generator, it's going to be dual fuel, and I'll invest the money and buy a 100-pound cylinder, and there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what? I took maintenance training at this hospital in Warm Springs, Georgia. And one day we had to replace the batteries on the cat backup generator. And I think they were kind of a smoke grade plastic. I think that thing was 24 volts a piece. I'm like, God, that generator, you talk about fire up. And then under the cafeteria, we had a Westinghouse gasoline powered little small generator. I'm like, you got to be that big old cat generator could run the whole hospital. That little Westinghouse. I'm like, but every so often we had to go out. It was September. We had to go out and check the fuel in the tanks in the ground. The guy put the gel on the stick, ran the stick in the tank, brought it back up. It changed colors. He measured it, and he told, and that we had those big old metal jugs. We filled them up 3 times with bad fuel. Was it the generator and the hot water boiler? I'm like, But then we had the incinerator it was diesel fired. And you talk about it like old coal fire freight train running down the track when we fire that thing on smoke was billowing out the chimney. And they told us, when you shut this thing down, you shut the fire off, but you leave the fan going. But yet the head of maintenance, he shut the whole thing off. I'm like, I forgot what they paid for that. They had to buy the whole new kit. I'm like, okay, when something goes wrong, don't blame me, because I shut the fire off and I leave the fan going. So I'm like, got to be, I think they paid $1,100 for that thing, for the firing unit. Because they used to have to send all that medical waste over to Warm Springs Institute for us to incinerate. I'm like,
In the event that I ever get a large sum of money and I decide to put my house on a standby generator, I'm going to plumb it into natural gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my door automatically closing.
Okay, guys, I got a couple of mowers in the garage I got to go work on.
See you, Wayne.
I got a beauty. Jake picked up a self-propelled electric start Honda engine mower. Looks mint. The deck looks great. Everything looks good. I said, "What'd you pay for that thing?" He said, $10.
What?
Good deal. He says there's choke issues. Took the carb off. The carb just loaded with slime. The choke lever, the lever for the choke was on the wrong side of the carburetor pin, so it wouldn't work. Somebody'd been in there and figured they'd help the guy out. They didn't help him out at all. The guy went and bought a new machine. He said, "Give me $10 for this thing and get it out of here." Jake says,
Wow.
"Okay."
What kind of mower was it? A Husky?
No, it's a Craftsman.
Craftsman with a Honda.
Got the GCV 160 on it. Got the
Electric
electric
start.
start motor. Yeah, I'm going to pull the battery right now and go and see if it'll take a charge. Hopefully it will.
Okay,
So I'll
Wayne.
see you guys. Take care.
Take care, Wayne.
Is there any fights tonight, Wayne?
What? Oh, yeah. Fights tonight, pay-per-view, 2 championship fights.
Ooh, cool.
Harrison's fighting Julia Pena for I think it's the featherweight in the ladies, and Sugar, he's fighting who the heck's he fighting? Bilal, I think, or something. I forget. They're good fights tonight.
That could get interesting.
And we got to pull for Edmonton. Everybody get together, pull for Edmonton. Sorry, I don't want Florida to win. They lucked out last night. That little rat scored the goal in overtime. Okay, guys, take care.
Have a good weekend, Wayne.
Well, Mr. Scott, how you doing?
Oh, I'm just doing. When you make the comment, everybody keeps making age of gas. My gas is clear. It's 3 years old, but sitting in the basement. Non-ethanol gas will last up to 5 years. And Royal Purple, by the way, has got zinc, and it's cheaper than regular oil. It's $39 for a 5-quart container at Walmart.
Well, that's fine in a vehicle. You can't. It's not really good for lawnmowers because it doesn't.
Depends on the lawnmower.
Huh?
Depends on the lawnmower. Tell me how come my Toro Flathead Quantum from 2001 starts on one pull. It's had Royal Purple since day one, and they don't burn oil. 10W30.
Well, you're using non-ethanol gas.
Yeah, but the oil, synthetic oil is far superior. It doesn't carbon, doesn't sludge, and it flows at negative 43 degrees Fahrenheit. You have to break it in with crude oil and then switch over to synthetic. Every piece of equipment I got is over 25 years old except for my zero turn. Even the owner's manual of the zero turn recommends synthetic oil.
Right.
Oh, it's got a flat top, tap it? Or is
It's a Kohler 7000 series engine on that zero turn. It says right on it, synthetic oil.
Yeah.
But added zinc in the oil, it doesn't do a darn thing for you.
Kohler oil comes with zinc.
I know, but zinc doesn't do anything for you.
I didn't say it does, but I don't use. I'm just saying it even says 10W30 right in the owner's manual.
Right, 10W30 or straight 30 or synthetic. You're good.
Actually, overhead valve engines and overhead cams do not recommend 30 weight oil. That's old school. Only flatheads recommend straight 30 weight. They haven't used it in 30 years. You got to get past your age there, Henry. The modern engines do not use straight 30. That is 1960s and 70s. This is 2025.
Right.
When you say 30 weight, you're talking like you're 90 years old and I'm sorry, but it's true. Unless you have a flathead engine, you don't use 30 weight. There's some lawnmowers out there that say 5W30 full synthetic.
New engines are 1030, 530. Same with snow
Yes.
blowers. Yeah.
Okay, so then I'm doing right. My HRX 217 behind me and my Toro Time Master, SAE 1030, both of them.
Yes, and synthetic oil is recommended.
I'm not using Sin. I'm using regular, but 1030. But I change it on a regular basis.
Have to break it.
It has nothing to do with changing them, and it's not so much changing them. The synthetic oil flows to the bearings faster. It does not. You don't get the blow by as long as you break them in with conventional oil. It even says so in the owner's manual.
Right. Break it in first, then synthetic.
Which I did. But I even followed what Honda said in the book for break in.
Yep.
About 3 hours, change it. 1030. That's what I put in it.
But as far as gas and oil mix, at the end of the year, if I don't use it up, I dump it in my car. Goes right through it. Won't hurt it a bit either.
1030 oil, once you get it warmed up, it acts as a 30 weight oil, right?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So we know that.
Oh yeah. But synthetic, when you say that you don't need high zinc, then why does Kohler make it?
Yeah.
With high
There's no reason, to have zinc in lawnmowers. There's no reason. It doesn't do anything for the engine.
Oh, I didn't say it did, but why did they make it if it don't do anything?
For cars.
Well, Kohler makes it. It has their own oil. I know they don't make it. They don't have their own refinery, but they bottle it with high zinc.
Yeah.
Well,
Why?
I think Kohler now has actually got into some of the water-cooled engines now.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, for like some of the bigger gen sets, they've got some water-cooled engines from what I'm gathering. I think they even have a diesel.
Yep.
I think. I'm not 100%.
And if you're going to get a whole house generator, don't go plummeting the natural gas. By the way,
Why not?
because they cost twice as much to run. Mine's in the natural gas. The one I got two. This house has no. I am off grid. I've got lithium batteries in the basement and two generators. One runs on propane and one runs on natural gas. The one that runs on natural gas is going to switch over to propane because they're outlandish. They cost more to run on natural gas.
Now, when you say you're off grid, are you still paying transmission costs?
There's no electric meter. There's no electric meter onto my house. None.
Over
No,
here,
he's literally isolated from main power.
yeah, over here it's against the law to be off grid like that, where there's
it is here too. But you got to have gas in your house. That's it. I do not have to have power. As long as you can produce power with the natural gas, they don't get. And so I don't have no electric meter. Have you ever watched? There's a YouTube channel called Alaska Off Grid or Alaska Living Free, whatever. They have a diesel generator and they got these battery banks. They're about 2 foot high. I got 3 of those in my basement. I got $6,000 worth of lithium batteries in the basement of this house.
Holy cow.
And I charge them with solar panels. And the only time I use those generators is in the wintertime because we don't get enough sun in the Northeast. But I keep them charged. It's just me here. I mean, all I got is a refrigerator and a light bulb that I never turn off in my living room here. That's it. My boiler runs on heating oil. I'm a cheapskate.
Mine runs on natural gas and it was put in the 50s. I just had to have a pump put on it here this past fall. A hydronic system.
Yeah, circulation pump.
Yep. The pump alone was almost $600 freaking dollars.
Depends on what size your pipe is. Yeah, they go about that high.
Well, I know that the pump was 1/12 horsepower, Bell and Gossett pump.
Yeah.
And while they were in there, they also had to change the autofill valve and pressure relief valve, and that was another $500 or $600.
You can buy those parts yourself and do it yourself for less than that.
I ain't messing with that myself.
Why? You can work on a small engine. It's a boiler. Don't let it intimidate you. It's just hot water. It ain't. You make sure you do it. You have like my circulation pump on my boiler. I got a shut-off valve below the circulation pump and below and the top where it goes in and out. Shut off the ball valves. Don't use gate valves. Gate valves are garbage. Turn it off. Shut the breaker off. Or outlet, whatever you got plugged in, whatever you got hooked up. Some people use a light switch. Turn off the power. Pull the damn thing out. Put the new one in. It ain't that hard. I mean,
it's what I did. It's what I did. I'm just saying the parts were that much money.
You can buy them online, man. That's about right.
Well, I bought that pump from Amazon. It was $580. And then by the time you figure the tax in, there you go.
Yep. Oh God, they would tax us on burping if they could.
No,
they would.
They tax you for breathing.
Well, they do. Hey, if you don't want tax, might as well roll over and die because that's something we all have to pay. Not saying I agree with it, but
nope. That's the only thing that's the only thing you got to do. You live and you die and you pay taxes. That's the 3 constants.
No, you forgot one. You live, you die, and work.
Well, yeah, you got to work to pay for the other crap.
Yeah. You forgot that part. You always got to work.